I was standing in the corner of the massive ballroom, watching crystal chandeliers reflect off champagne glasses that cost more than my monthly rent, when my aunt walked up to me with that smile. "You know the one. The smile that comes right before the knife." "Well, at least you showed up," she said, loud enough for the people around us to hear. "I wasn't sure you could afford the gas to get here." My cousin Melissa's engagement party. $200,000. That's what they spent. I know because my uncle wouldn't stop talking about it. The ice sculpture alone cost more than my car. I'm 24 years old. I work 2 jobs. I live in a studio apartment with a bathroom so small I have to step into the hallway to change my mind. And I was happy for Melissa. I really was. Until I saw the gift table. Mountains of boxes wrapped in silk ribbon and designer paper. Tiffany blue, Cartier red, each one probably worth more than everything I owned combined. My gift looked pathetic next to them. A simple frame with a photo of me and Melissa as kids. Homemade, heartfelt, cheap. "Is that your gift?" My aunt picked it up like it was contaminated. "How thoughtful." She said thoughtful the way you'd say contagious. "I made it myself," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "We can tell." People turned. People actually stopped their conversations to watch. My face burned so hot I thought my makeup would melt off. My Uncle Richard appeared beside her, drink in hand, that same condescending smirk I'd seen my whole life. "You know, sweetie, if you needed money, you could have just said something. We could have helped you pick out something more appropriate." "I didn't need help." "Clearly you did." My aunt gestured at my dress. Not designer, not new, but clean, pressed, the best I had. "I mean, look at you. You look like you're here to serve drinks, not celebrate family." The word family hit different coming from her mouth. Because here's what they didn't know. What nobody in that room full of $1,000 suits and Botox smiles knew. 3 years ago, when my dad died, he left me with $53,000 in medical debt. I was 21, still in college, working overnight shifts at a diner just to keep the collection agencies from calling. My aunt and uncle, they were at the funeral. They hugged me. They cried. They said, "We're here for you. Family takes care of family." They never sent a penny, but they sent Melissa to Europe that summer. 3 months, all expenses paid. She needed to heal, my aunt said. I healed by picking up extra shifts and skipping meals. Now I was down to $5,000 left in debt. $5,000 between me and freedom. Between me and finally breathing. And I was watching them celebrate spending 40 times that amount on one party. Melissa appeared then, glowing in a dress that cost more than my entire student loan payment. "Oh my God, is that our photo?" She picked up my gift, and for a second, I thought maybe she'd remember. Maybe she'd remember when we were kids and money didn't matter and we were actually close. "It's so cute." She set it down quickly. "I'll put it in the guest room or something." Translation: "I'll hide it where no one will see it." Her fiancé, Brandon, appeared with his hand on her waist. Old money. Trust fund. The kind of guy who thinks broke means his yacht is getting detailed. "This is my cousin," Melissa said. "The one I told you about." The one she told him about. "What did that mean?" Brandon looked me up and down. "Oh, the one with the situation." My situation. My situation, like my father's death was a problem I created. Like his cancer was my fault. "It's nice you could make it," Brandon said, in that tone rich people use when they're pretending to be kind. "I know it's probably hard to get time off from work." "I have 2 jobs, I said. I made it work. 2 jobs. My uncle laughed. Actually laughed. "See, that's the problem with your generation. You spread yourself too thin instead of focusing on one good career." I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip that gift table. I wanted to tell everyone in that room that the reason I had 2 jobs was because his brother, my father, died drowning in medical bills while they were renovating their 3rd bathroom. But I didn't. I just stood there, smiled, and said, "Congratulations, Melissa. I hope you'll be very happy." I turned to leave. "Oh, honey, wait!" My aunt grabbed my arm. Her nails dug in. "Before you go, Richard and I wanted to talk to you about something." My stomach dropped. We're planning the wedding now, and, well, we're going to need all hands on deck. Family contribution and all that? I stared at her. Contribution? Well, yes. Everyone's chipping in. It's only fair. We're thinking about $3,000 per family member should cover it. $3,000. More than half of what I still owed. More than I'd saved in the last 6 months. I can't afford that, I whispered. Can't or won't? My uncle's voice boomed across the ballroom. Everyone was looking now. Everyone. The whole room had gone silent. And that's when I realized they'd planned this. The silence in that ballroom was deafening. 200 people pretending not to stare while absolutely staring. My aunt's grip on my arm tightened. We're waiting for an answer, she said sweetly. That fake sweetness that made my skin crawl. I have $5,000 in debt left from my dad's medical bills, I said quietly. I can't give you $3,000 for a wedding. My uncle laughed. Not a chuckle. A full, booming laugh that echoed off the marble floors. You're still hanging on to that? Sweetheart, that was 3 years ago. At some point, you need to move on. Move on. Move on. Like grief had an expiration date. Like debt disappeared if you just stopped thinking about it. Richard's right, my aunt added, finally releasing my arm. You can't use your father as an excuse forever. It's time to grow up and contribute to this family like everyone else. Everyone else didn't lose their parent and inherit $50,000 in medical debt at 21, I shot back. And whose fault is that? My uncle took a step closer. Your father made choices. Poor financial choices. That's not our responsibility. The room spun. People were whispering now. I could feel their judgment like needles in my skin. Melissa stood frozen, clutching Brandon's arm. She wouldn't look at me. Dad was sick for 2 years, I said, my voice shaking. He spent everything trying to survive. That's not a choice. That's cancer. It's also not our problem. My aunt straightened her designer dress. Now, we've been very patient with you. Very understanding. But Melissa deserves the wedding of her dreams, and that requires family support. Real family support. I've been paying off debt while working 2 jobs. Oh, here we go with the 2 jobs again. My uncle rolled his eyes. You know who else works hard? Everyone in this room. The difference is they manage their money properly. Brandon whispered something to Melissa. She nodded. Then she stepped forward. Maybe we should just let it go, Melissa said quietly. She obviously can't afford it. Can't afford it. Said like I was trying to skip out on a dinner bill, not literally choosing between their wedding contribution and my own survival. No, my aunt's voice went cold. No, I don't think we should let it go. She needs to understand that family means sacrifice. It means showing up. Not just physically, but financially. I have been showing up. My voice cracked. I've been showing up to every holiday, every birthday, every event. I sent gifts. I sent cards. I've been here. With your clearance store dresses and your homemade gifts, yes, we've noticed, my aunt said, her lip curling. But that's not real contribution. That's not real support. A woman near the gift table whispered to her husband. I caught the words so embarrassing and poor thing. You know what? I straightened my shoulders. I'm sorry I can't contribute $3,000 to a wedding that already costs more than most people make in a year. I'm sorry my father died and left me with impossible debt. I'm sorry I'm not rich like everyone else here. Don't you dare make this about money, my uncle hissed. This is about respect. About family values. Family values? The words exploded out of me. Where were your family values when Dad was dying? When I was 21 and drowning in medical bills and collection calls? Where were you then? The room went completely silent. My aunt's face turned red. We sent flowers to the funeral. You sent flowers. I felt something break inside me. Something that had been holding on for 3 years. You sent flowers. That's what you think family support looks like? We are not responsible for your father's financial disasters, my uncle said firmly. We have our own family to think about. Our own expenses. This engagement party alone cost $200,000. I know, you told me. 6 times, I grabbed my purse. I'm leaving. If you walk out that door without committing to that 3,000, don't bother coming to the wedding, my aunt called after me. I stopped, turned around. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'll be there. I smiled. A real smile. The first genuine one I'd had all night. I promise you I will absolutely be at that wedding. Something in my tone made her hesitate. Made my uncle's smug expression falter just slightly. Fine, Melissa said quickly. Great, we'll see you there. Now can we please get back to the party? I walked toward the exit, past the ice sculpture, past the champagne tower, past all those people in their expensive clothes with their expensive lives. A man was standing near the door. Older, maybe 60, in a simple dark suit. He'd been watching the whole thing. As I passed, he handed me his business card. You might want to call me, he said quietly. Name's Thomas Wheeler. I'm an attorney. I can't afford. First consultation is free, and something tells me you're going to need one. He nodded toward my aunt and uncle. Trust me on this. I took the card. Didn't look at it. Just shoved it in my purse and walked out into the cool night air. My hands were shaking. My chest was tight. I sat in my car in that parking lot full of Mercedes and BMWs and Teslas, and I let myself cry. $3,000. They wanted $3,000 from someone they knew was drowning in debt. My phone buzzed. A text from Melissa. That was really dramatic. You embarrassed me in front of Brandon's family. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I pulled out the business card. Thomas Wheeler, attorney at law. Estate planning and probate. Estate planning. Probate. My father's estate. Something clicked in my brain. Something I'd been too grief-stricken and overwhelmed to think about 3 years ago. I dialed the number. He answered on the second ring. I was hoping you'd call tonight. Why did you give me your card? I asked. Because I was your father's attorney, he said. And there's something you need to know about his estate. Something your aunt and uncle definitely don't want you to find out. My blood went cold. What are you talking about? Not over the phone, Thomas said. Can you meet me tomorrow? My office. 10 a.m. I have work. Call in sick. Trust me, this is more important. He hung up. I sat there in my car, staring at my phone, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it. What could my father's attorney possibly need to tell me that my aunt and uncle didn't want me to know? And why was he at Melissa's engagement party in the first place? I didn't sleep that night. I lay in my tiny studio apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word Thomas Wheeler had said. Something your aunt and uncle definitely don't want you to find out. At 6 a.m., I called in sick to both jobs. My managers weren't happy, but I didn't care. For 3 years, I'd been the perfect employee. Never late. Never complained. Always picked up extra shifts. Today, I was choosing me. Thomas Wheeler's office was downtown in one of those old buildings with character. Wood panels, leather chairs, the kind of place that smelled like old books and expensive cigars. His secretary led me to his office at exactly 10 a.m. Miss Hartley. He stood, extending his hand. Thank you for coming. You said you were my father's attorney. I sat down, gripping my purse. He never mentioned you. He hired me 6 months before he passed. For estate planning. Thomas pulled out a thick file. Your father knew he was dying. He wanted to make sure you were taken care of. My throat tightened. He left me debt. $53,000 in medical debt. Yes, he did. Thomas opened the file. But he also left you something else. Something that was supposed to go to you immediately upon his death. What are you talking about? There was nothing. The lawyer who handled his estate said there was nothing but debt. What lawyer? I don't remember his name. My aunt and uncle handled everything. They said I was too young, too traumatized. They took care of all the legal stuff. Thomas's jaw tightened. Did you ever see any official documents? Death certificate, will? Estate inventory? No. They just told me what I owed and I've been paying it ever since. He slid a document across the desk. This is your father's will. The real one, filed with the county 6 months before his death. My hands shook as I picked it up. I recognized my father's signature at the bottom. I, David Hartley, being of sound mind and body, do hereby leave my entire estate to my daughter, Claire Hartley, including but not limited to my life insurance policy in the amount of $150,000, my savings account, and my share of the family property located at 2847 Riverside Drive. I read it 3 times. 4 times. The words didn't make sense. Life insurance? I whispered. He had life insurance? $150,000. Paid in full. The payout was processed 3 weeks after his death. Thomas pulled out another document. Here's the bank record. The money was deposited into an estate account. Where's the money now? His face darkened. That's what I've been trying to figure out for 3 years. The estate account was managed by the executor of your father's will. Who was the executor? Your uncle, Richard Hartley. The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the desk. My uncle? My voice came out strangled. Richard was in charge of my dad's estate? Your father named him executor because they were brothers. He trusted him. Thomas leaned forward. That was a mistake. Where's the money? I asked again, louder this time. Where is my money? I believe your uncle took it, all of it. The life insurance payout, your father's savings, about $20,000, and he sold the family property for $375,000. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The numbers were spinning in my head. That's over $500,000. $545,000 to be exact. Thomas pulled out more documents. And instead of giving it to you, as the will specified, he told you that you owed $53,000 in medical debt. But I do owe that. I've been paying it. The collection agencies call you constantly, I'm sure, because your uncle never paid your father's medical bills. He was supposed to use estate funds to settle all debts, then distribute the remainder to you. Instead, he kept everything and left you with the debt. I thought I might throw up. Why? The word came out broken. Why would he do that? Thomas hesitated. 3 years ago, your uncle's business was failing. He was about to declare bankruptcy. Then suddenly he wasn't. He paid off all his debts. Bought a new house. Started investing in your cousin's future. The engagement party, I whispered. $200,000. My father's money paid for that party. Thomas nodded slowly. I believe so, and I believe your uncle has been using your inheritance for 3 years to fund his lifestyle, his business, and his daughter's extravagant life. I stood up so fast my chair fell backward. We need to sue him. We need to take him to court right now. We will. But I need you to understand something. Thomas stood too. This is going to get ugly. Your family will turn on you. Your aunt will claim you're lying. They'll try to paint you as greedy, as someone trying to profit from your father's death. I don't care. They'll drag your father's name through the mud. They'll make this public. Messy. I said I don't care. My voice echoed off the walls. He stole from me. He stole my father's legacy. He let me struggle for 3 years while he spent my money on ice sculptures and designer dresses and European vacations. Thomas smiled. A small, satisfied smile. Good, because I've been waiting 3 years to take this case. I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't find you. Your uncle told me you'd moved away. Changed your number. Wanted nothing to do with the family. He lied. He lied about everything. Thomas gathered the documents. I came to that engagement party specifically to find you. I've been tracking your family, waiting for a public event where you might show up. How did you know I'd be there? I didn't, but I hoped. And when I saw the way they treated you, the way they talked about money... He shook his head. I knew I was right. I knew Richard had stolen from you and was rubbing it in your face. I sank back into my chair. What happens now? Now, we file a lawsuit. Breach of fiduciary duty. Theft. Fraud. We demand a full accounting of the estate, and we take back every penny that belongs to you. Thomas leaned on his desk. But I have to warn you. This could take months. Maybe a year. And your family will fight dirty. Let them fight. I met his eyes. I've been fighting alone for 3 years. At least now I'll have the truth on my side. There's one more thing. Thomas pulled out a final document. The family property your uncle sold? The one at Riverside Drive? What about it? It was worth a lot more than $375,000. I had it appraised. Current market value? At least $600,000. My stomach dropped. He undersold it? He sold it to a business partner for cash. Off the books. Didn't report the full amount. Thomas smiled grimly. That's tax fraud. And if we can prove it, your uncle isn't just looking at a lawsuit. He's looking at criminal charges. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. It was either laugh or scream. Good, I said. When do we start? Already started. I filed the preliminary paperwork this morning. He handed me a folder. This is your copy. Read it. Sign where indicated, and then we're going to court. I took the folder with shaking hands. One question, I said. Why are you doing this? You could have walked away 3 years ago. Thomas's expression softened. Your father was a good man. He came to me terrified that his medical bills would destroy you. He spent his last months making sure you'd be protected. And your uncle destroyed that. Stole from a dying man's daughter. He straightened his tie. Some things you don't walk away from. I left his office with that folder clutched to my chest, my heart pounding, my mind racing. My uncle had stolen over $500,000 from me. And now I was going to take him to court. The lawsuit was filed on a Friday afternoon. By Friday evening, my phone was exploding. 17 missed calls from my aunt. 23 texts from Melissa. My uncle left one voicemail, and his voice was pure venom. You ungrateful little bitch. After everything we've done for you. After we helped you through your father's death. This is how you repay us? By dragging us to court with lies? You'll regret this. I saved the voicemail. Thomas said to save everything. Saturday morning, I woke up to find my face plastered all over my aunt's Facebook page. Devastated to share that my niece is suing our family over her father's estate. We've tried to help her for years, but she's chosen greed over family. Please keep us in your prayers during this difficult time. The comments were brutal. So sad when money tears families apart. She should be ashamed of herself. Suing family? That's low. My hands shook as I scrolled through them. Dozens of people. Relatives, family friends, people I'd known my whole life, all turning against me based on one lie. I wanted to respond. Wanted to tell them the truth. Thomas told me not to. Let them talk. Let your uncle think he's winning the PR battle. We'll win where it matters. In court? But it hurt. God, it hurt. Sunday, my aunt showed up at my apartment. I saw her through the peephole, standing there in her designer coat, arms crossed. I almost didn't open the door, but I did. We need to talk, she said, pushing past me into my tiny studio. I have nothing to say to you. Really? She spun around. You have nothing to say after filing a ridiculous lawsuit against us? After making up lies about Richard stealing from you? They're not lies. Yes, they are. Her voice bounced off my walls. Your father had debt. We tried to help you. We tried to shield you from how bad it really was. And this is how you thank us? I saw the will. I saw the life insurance policy. I saw the bank records. Her face went pale, just for a second. Then she recovered. I don't know what con artist lawyer got to you, but he's lying. There was no life insurance. There was no property. There was only debt. Then you won't mind coming to court and proving that under oath. She stepped closer. Too close. I could smell her expensive perfume. Drop this lawsuit, Claire. Drop it now and we can forget this ever happened. We'll even help you with your remaining debt. We'll pay it off. All of it. $5,000. She was offering me $5,000 to walk away from over $500,000. No. No? She laughed. A cold, sharp sound. You stupid girl. Do you have any idea what you're doing? Richard will destroy you in court. He has lawyers. Real lawyers. Not some ambulance chaser you found in a parking lot. Thomas Wheeler was Dad's attorney. Dad trusted him. Your father was dying and drugged up on painkillers. He didn't know what he was signing. She grabbed my arm. This lawsuit will ruin you. It'll cost money you don't have. Time you can't afford, and you'll lose. You'll lose everything, and you'll be even more in debt than before. I pulled my arm free. Get out. Melissa is devastated. Devastated. You're ruining her wedding. Her engagement. Her happiness. She'll survive. Will she? My aunt's eyes filled with fake tears. This stress is killing her. She's barely eating. Barely sleeping. All because you decided to be selfish and greedy. I'm greedy? I felt something snap. I'm greedy because I want what my father left me? Because I want the money that was supposed to pay off his medical debt and give me a future. There is no money. Then why are you here? I shouted. If there's no money, why are you in my apartment trying to convince me to drop the lawsuit? Why is Uncle Richard leaving threatening voicemails? Why is everyone so desperate for me to go away? She went silent. Get out, I said again, quieter this time. Get out of my apartment and don't come back. You're going to lose, she hissed. And when you do, don't come crawling back to us. You'll be dead to this family. I've been dead to this family since the day my father died and you decided his money was more important than his daughter. She slammed the door so hard my landlord complained the next day. Monday morning, I met Thomas at the courthouse for the preliminary hearing. It was just a formality, he said. The judge would set a trial date and review the basic facts. My uncle and aunt were already there. Melissa, too, all dressed like they were going to a funeral. Black, expensive, somber. They stared at me like I was a stranger. Melissa's eyes were red. She'd been crying. Real tears or fake ones, I couldn't tell anymore. The judge was a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and no patience for nonsense. This is a petition to reopen the estate of David Hartley and remove Richard Hartley as executor due to alleged mismanagement and theft of estate assets. She looked over her glasses at my uncle. Mr. Hartley, you're represented by counsel? A man in an expensive suit stood up. Yes, Your Honor. Martin Ross representing Mr. Richard Hartley. And Miss Claire Hartley, you're represented by Thomas Wheeler? Thomas stood. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wheeler, summarize your case. Thomas laid it out. Clean. Simple. Devastating. The will. The life insurance. The property sale. The missing money. My uncle's lawyer objected 3 times. The judge shut him down 3 times. When Thomas finished, the judge turned to my uncle. Mr. Hartley, did you serve as executor of your brother's estate? Yes, Your Honor, but... And did your brother have a life insurance policy worth $150,000? My uncle's lawyer leaned over, whispering frantically. I'm not sure. The estate was complicated. It's a yes or no question. Your Honor, the lawyer interjected. We need time to review the estate documents. You've had 3 years. The judge looked at my uncle. Mr. Hartley, I'm ordering you to produce a complete accounting of your brother's estate within 30 days. Bank statements, property records, life insurance documents, everything. Your Honor, that's 30 days. And until this matter is resolved, I'm freezing any remaining estate assets. She banged her gavel. Trial date set for 8 weeks from today. We're adjourned. It happened so fast. 1 minute we were standing, the next the judge was gone. My uncle turned to me. His face was red. Furious. You have no idea what you've just done, he said. I know exactly what I've done. I met his eyes. I'm taking back what you stole. Stole? He stepped closer. Thomas moved between us. I didn't steal anything. I managed a complicated estate. Then the accounting will show that, Thomas said calmly. 30 days, Richard. Better start gathering those documents. My aunt grabbed Melissa's arm, pulling her toward the exit. But Melissa stopped, turned around. I hate you, she screamed at me across the courthouse hallway. I hate you for doing this, for ruining everything. I hope you're happy. People stopped, stared. I'm not happy, I said quietly, but I'm finally fighting back. As they left, my uncle's lawyer pulled him aside. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I saw my uncle's face go from red to white. Whatever the lawyer told him, it wasn't good. Thomas put a hand on my shoulder. You okay? No, but I will be. They're scared, he said. That's why they're attacking you. They know what we're going to find. What if we don't find anything? What if he hid it too well? Thomas smiled. Money leaves a trail, always, and your uncle isn't as smart as he thinks he is. We left the courthouse together. Behind us, I heard my aunt's voice, sharp and angry, echoing off the marble walls. But I didn't turn around. For the first time in 3 years, I was walking forward. The 30 days felt like 30 years. I went to work, came home, waited. Every day I checked my phone obsessively, waiting for updates from Thomas. My family's harassment escalated. Anonymous accounts started leaving comments on my social media. Gold digger. Family destroyer. Lying. Bitch. Someone left a bag of garbage on my apartment doorstep with a note. This is what you are. Melissa posted engagement. Photos every single day with captions like, so blessed to have real, family who supports us, and money can't buy class or loyalty. The comments under her posts were brutal toward me, even though she never mentioned my name. She didn't have to. Everyone knew. But something else was happening too. People from my father's life started reaching out. Old coworkers, friends, neighbors. Your dad talked about that life insurance policy, one email said. He was so relieved you'd be taken care of. Richard came by the house 2 weeks after the funeral asking about property deeds, another wrote. I thought it was strange at the time. Thomas collected every statement. Every email, every piece of evidence. On day 28, my uncle's lawyer requested an extension. The judge denied it. On day 30, at 4:53 p.m., 7 minutes before the deadline, a courier delivered 3 boxes to Thomas's office. I was there when they arrived. That's the estate accounting? I stared at the boxes. That's it? Let's see what we've got. Thomas opened the first box. Papers. Hundreds of pages. Bank statements, receipts, property documents. Everything thrown together in no particular order. He's trying to bury us in paperwork, Thomas muttered. Make it impossible to track. We worked until 2 a.m. going through everything. And then Thomas found it. Claire. His voice was quiet, deadly quiet. Look at this. It was a bank statement from 3 years ago, an estate account in my father's name. Deposit, $150,000. Life insurance payout. 3 days later, withdrawal of $150,000. Transferred to an account ending in 7743. Whose account is that? I asked. Thomas pulled out another document. Richard Hartley. Personal checking account. My hand started shaking. He just took it, all of it? In one transaction? Not all of it, look. Thomas pointed to another statement. 2 weeks after the life insurance deposit, there was another deposit. $23,000. My father's savings account liquidated, withdrawn the same day, transferred to account 7743. $173,000. My voice cracked. He stole it all in less than a month. There's more. Thomas opened the second box. The property. Documents showed the family property, a beautiful piece of land my grandfather had bought in the 70s, sold for $375,000. But there was a second appraisal, hidden in the middle of the stack. Market value, $620,000. He sold it to his business partner for $245,000 less than it was worth, Thomas said. Then they probably split the difference under the table. I felt sick, dizzy. How much? I whispered. How much total did he steal? Thomas did the math on his calculator. With the property undervaluation? Around $595,000. Almost $600,000. My father had left me enough to pay off his medical debt and still have over $500,000. Enough to finish school, buy a house, start a life. And my uncle had stolen every penny. We've got him, Thomas said. This is ironclad. He can't explain this away. What happens now? Now we go to trial. We present this evidence, and we watch him try to explain to a judge why he stole from his dead brother's daughter. The trial was set for 2 weeks later. Those 2 weeks were hell. My aunt showed up at my work, at the diner. She sat in my section, ordered coffee, and stared at me for an hour while I served other tables. When she finally left, she didn't tip. Just left a note on the receipt. You're going to lose everything. Melissa sent me a wedding invitation. Not by mail, by courier. Delivered to my apartment at midnight so it would wake me up. The envelope was thick, expensive. The invitation inside was embossed in gold. Melissa Hartley and Brandon Whitmore request the honor of your presence. At the bottom, written in pen, since you're so concerned about money, thought you should know this wedding is costing $400,000. Hope that makes you happy. $400,000. More of my money. More of my father's legacy spent on flowers and champagne and a dress she'd wear once. I put the invitation on my fridge. Motivation. The day before the trial, Thomas called me. We have a problem. My stomach dropped. What kind of problem? Richard's lawyer is claiming your father verbally told him to take the money. That it was a gift to help Richard's failing business. That your father wanted to help his brother. That's a lie. I know it's a lie. But they're going to argue it. They're going to say your father had dementia from the cancer medication, that he didn't know what he was signing. Dad's will is dated 6 months before he died. He was lucid. He knew exactly what he was doing. We know that. But they're going to fight dirty. Thomas paused. There's something else. They're bringing character witnesses. People who will testify that you and your father weren't close. That you didn't deserve the inheritance. Who? Your aunt. Your cousin. Some family friends Richard has paid off. I wanted to scream. To throw my phone across the room. Can they do that? They can try. But Claire, we have the paper trail. We have the evidence. Documents don't lie. His voice was firm. Tomorrow, you need to be strong. They're going to attack you. Your character. Your relationship with your father. Your motives. You need to stay calm and tell the truth. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about my father. The way he'd worked 3 jobs to pay for my school. The way he'd smile even when he was exhausted. The way he held my hand in the hospital and said, I'm taking care of you, baby. Even after I'm gone, you're going to be okay. He had taken care of me. He'd planned everything, done everything right, and my uncle had destroyed it. The next morning, I put on the only professional outfit I owned. A simple black dress I'd bought at a thrift store. Pearl earrings my father had given me for my high school graduation. I looked in the mirror. I looked tired, scared, young, but I also looked determined. Thomas met me outside the courthouse. Ready? He asked. No, but let's do this anyway. We walked up the steps together. At the entrance, my entire family was waiting. My uncle in an expensive suit. My aunt in designer everything. Melissa in a dress that probably cost more than my rent. And behind them, at least 20 people. Family members, friends, all there to support them. I had Thomas. That was it. My uncle saw me and smirked. Actually smirked. Last chance to drop this, he said. Save yourself the embarrassment. I walked past him without a word. Inside the courtroom, the judge entered. All rise. The case of Claire Hartley versus Richard Hartley in the matter of the estate of David Hartley. This was it. This was the moment everything changed. The judge looked at both sides. Mr. Wheeler, present your case. Thomas stood, straightened his tie, and began to speak. Your Honor, this is a simple case of theft. Theft from a dying man's daughter. And the evidence will prove, beyond any doubt, that Richard Hartley stole nearly $600,000 from his niece. Money her father left specifically for her. Money meant to secure her future. Money that Richard Hartley spent on himself and his family while Claire struggled with debt her father had already paid. The judge's eyes narrowed. Mr. Ross, your response? My uncle's lawyer stood. Your Honor, this is a case of a greedy young woman trying to profit from her father's death. Richard Hartley managed a complicated estate in good faith. Then the records will show that, the judge interrupted. Let's see the evidence. And the battle began. Thomas presented the evidence methodically, brutally, every document laid out like a weapon. The life insurance policy, my father's signature. The payout confirmation, the bank statements showing the deposit into the estate account. The withdrawal 3 days later, straight into my uncle's personal account. Your Honor, the pattern is clear, Thomas said. Within 1 month of David Hartley's death, Richard Hartley transferred every liquid asset from the estate directly to himself. My uncle's lawyer objected. Your Honor, Mr. Richard Hartley was managing estate expenses. $150,000 in estate expenses? The judge raised an eyebrow. In 3 days? The funeral costs, medical bills. Thomas slid another document across. The funeral cost $8,000, paid by Claire Hartley herself, from her personal savings. Here's her bank statement showing the withdrawal. I watched my uncle's face. He wasn't smirking anymore. The medical bills, Thomas continued, totaling $53,000 were never paid by the estate. Claire has been paying them herself for 3 years. Here are the payment records from the collection agencies. The judge looked at my uncle. Mr. Hartley, if you used estate funds to pay debts, where are the receipts? My uncle leaned over, whispering frantically with his lawyer. We'll need to locate those documents, Your Honor. You had 30 days to locate documents, the judge said coldly. Continue, Mr. Wheeler. Thomas presented the property sale next. The appraisal showing $620,000 value. The sale for $375,000. The buyer, my uncle's business partner. Your Honor, this is clear fraud. The property was undersold by nearly 40% to someone with direct financial ties to Richard Hartley. Objection. My uncle's lawyer stood. The property was sold at market rate. We have 3 independent appraisals, Thomas interrupted, all within $10,000 of each other, all showing the property was worth over $600,000. Would you like to see them? The lawyer sat down. Then came the character assassination. My uncle's lawyer called my aunt to the stand first. She dabbed her eyes with a tissue as she was sworn in. The performance of a lifetime. Mrs. Hartley, how would you describe your relationship with your niece? We loved her. We tried to help her after her father died. But Claire was always difficult, angry. She blamed us for her father's illness. That's a lie, I whispered. Thomas put a hand on my arm. Did David Hartley ever discuss his wishes for his estate with you? Yes. He told us he wanted Richard to handle everything. He trusted Richard. He knew Claire was too young, too emotional to manage that kind of money. Objection, Thomas stood. Hearsay, and contradicted by the written will. Sustained, the judge said. The witness will stick to facts, not alleged conversations. My aunt's eyes flashed with anger. Mrs. Hartley, are you aware that your husband transferred estate funds directly to his personal account? He was managing the estate. He had to use accounts he had access to. For 3 years? Without ever distributing funds to the beneficiary as required by law? Claire never asked for the money. Because you told her there was no money. You told her she only had debt. My aunt's composure cracked. We were protecting her. She would have wasted it. On what? Paying off her father's medical bills? The bills you claimed the estate couldn't afford? She would have spent it on nonsense. She has no sense of financial responsibility. Thomas smiled. Yet she's been paying off $53,000 in debt while working 2 jobs. That sounds financially responsible to me. The courtroom was silent. No further questions, Thomas said. Melissa was called next. She looked fragile on the stand. Young, vulnerable. Her eyes red from crying. Miss Hartley, how has this lawsuit affected you? It's destroyed our family. Her voice broke. Claire was like a sister to me. And now she's doing this, accusing my father of theft, ruining my engagement, my wedding, everything. Do you believe your father stole from Claire? No, never. My father is the most honest man I know. He would never... Then where did the money come from? Thomas stood. Your engagement party cost $200,000. Your wedding is costing $400,000. Your father's business was failing 3 years ago. Where did that money come from? Melissa's face went red. My father worked hard. He built his business back up. With what capital? Show me the business records. I'm not involved in... Convenient. Thomas pulled out a document. This is your father's tax return from 3 years ago. He claimed a loss of $200,000. 6 months later, he paid cash for a new house. $450,000, cash. Where did that money come from? Melissa looked at her father, panicked. I don't know. I don't handle his finances. But you benefit from them. The party, the wedding, the European vacations, all paid for with money that was meant for Claire. Objection. The lawyer jumped up. Speculation. It's not speculation when we have the bank records, Thomas shot back. The judge leaned forward. I'd like to see those tax returns and bank records. All of them. My uncle's lawyer went pale. Then my uncle took the stand. He looked confident. Too confident. Like he'd rehearsed this. Mr. Hartley, did you serve as executor of your brother's estate? Yes, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. My brother and I were close. I loved him. Then why did you transfer all estate funds to your personal account? I didn't transfer them. I used them to manage estate expenses, debts, obligations. What debts? Medical bills, funeral costs, legal fees. We've already established the funeral was paid by Claire. The medical bills were never paid by you. What legal fees? My uncle hesitated. Probate costs, filing fees. Those total approximately $2,000. You took $173,000 in liquid assets. What happened to the other $171,000? Estate management, taxes, various expenses. Show me the receipts. The courtroom went dead silent. My uncle shifted in his seat. I don't have them all. Some were cash transactions. How convenient, Thomas said. Cash transactions. Impossible to trace. Mr. Hartley, isn't it true that your business was failing 3 years ago? My business had some challenges. Isn't it true you were about to declare bankruptcy? That's an exaggeration. And isn't it true that immediately after your brother's death, your financial situation dramatically improved? I worked hard. I made smart investments. With what money? You claimed a $200,000 loss on your taxes. Where did you get capital to invest? My uncle's face turned red, purple. I had savings. Show me the bank records of those savings. I don't have to show you anything. Yes, you do. The judge's voice cracked like a whip. Mr. Hartley, you are under oath in my courtroom. You will produce those bank records or I will hold you in contempt. My uncle looked at his lawyer. His lawyer looked sick. Your Honor, we need time to gather. You've had 3 years. I want those records on my desk by tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. sharp. The judge looked at my uncle with pure disgust. And Mr. Hartley, if I find out you've destroyed or hidden any documents, I will refer this case to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. Criminal prosecution. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. My uncle stepped down from the stand, his confidence shattered. The judge called a recess. In the hallway, my aunt grabbed Melissa's arm. They were arguing in harsh whispers. My uncle was on his phone, pacing, his face red. Thomas pulled me aside. We're winning, he said quietly. They're falling apart. What if he doesn't produce the records? Then he goes to jail for contempt, and we win by default. Thomas smiled. Either way, we win. That night I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't think about anything except tomorrow. What would those bank records show? Would my uncle actually produce them? Or would he run? At 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Drop the lawsuit or you'll regret it. This is your last warning. I forwarded it to Thomas. His response came immediately. Screenshot that. Save it. That's witness intimidation. We're adding it to the case. At 8:50 a.m., I met Thomas outside the courthouse. Did he produce the records? I asked. Thomas's face was grim. Yes, and Claire? You need to prepare yourself. What we found is worse than we thought. Worse how? He didn't just steal from you. He's been committing fraud for 3 years. Tax evasion, money laundering. This isn't just civil court anymore. The courthouse doors opened. Inside, my uncle sat at the defendant's table. He looked smaller somehow, defeated. The judge entered. Mr. Hartley, I've reviewed the bank records you submitted. And I have questions. A lot of questions. She held up a document. This shows a $200,000 cash deposit 6 weeks after your brother's death. Source unlisted. Care to explain? My uncle opened his mouth, closed it. I'm waiting. And in that moment, I knew. We'd won. My uncle's lawyer stood quickly. Your Honor, my client would like to request a brief recess to consult with counsel. Denied. The judge didn't even look up from the documents. Mr. Hartley, I asked you a question. $200,000. Cash deposit. Where did it come from? My uncle cleared his throat. That was a loan. From a friend. Name of the friend? Silence. Mr. Hartley? I don't recall specifically. You don't recall who loaned you $200,000? The judge set down the papers. That's convenient. What about this deposit? 3 weeks later. $50,000, also cash. Also source unlisted. Business income. Your tax returns show a loss that year. You're telling me you had business income that you didn't report? My uncle's lawyer was frantically writing notes, sliding them across the table. My uncle glanced at them, his face going pale. Your Honor, I'd like to amend my previous statement. I'm sure you would. The judge picked up another document. This is interesting, too. A property sale. The Riverside property. Sold for $375,000. But I have 3 appraisals here showing market value at over $600,000. You sold it to... She looked at the papers. James Morrison. Who is James Morrison? A business associate. How convenient. Did Mr. Morrison pay full market value? The market was volatile at the time. The appraisals are all dated within 2 weeks of the sale. The market wasn't volatile. You undersold the property by nearly 40% to your business partner. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Hartley, do you know what this looks like to me? My uncle said nothing. It looks like fraud, tax fraud, estate fraud, theft from a beneficiary. She turned to Thomas. Mr. Wheeler, what are you requesting? Thomas stood. Full restitution of all estate assets. $595,000 plus interest. 3 years of interest at the statutory rate of 7%. That brings the total to $721,000. My aunt gasped. Melissa grabbed her father's arm. Additionally, we're requesting removal of Richard Hartley as executor, criminal referral to the district attorney, and payment of all legal fees incurred by Miss Hartley. Your Honor. That's excessive, my uncle's lawyer started. Excessive? The judge's voice was ice. What's excessive is stealing from your dead brother's daughter and spending the money on engagement parties and luxury vacations while she worked 2 jobs to pay off debt you should have paid. She shuffled through more papers. I'm also seeing here that Claire Hartley paid for her father's funeral. $8,000 from her personal account, while you, Mr. Hartley, had access to $173,000 in liquid estate funds. The judge looked at my uncle with pure disgust. Did you reimburse her? I intended to. That's not what I asked. Did you reimburse her? Yes or no? No. Did you pay any of the medical debt as required by your fiduciary duty? I was waiting for yes or no. No. Did you distribute any funds to the beneficiary as outlined in the will? My uncle's jaw clenched. No. So you took everything, spent it on yourself and your family, and left your niece with debt her father had already paid off through his life insurance. The judge set down her papers. Mr. Hartley, in my 30 years on the bench, I have never seen such a clear-cut case of executor misconduct. My aunt started crying. Loud, dramatic sobs. The judge ignored her. I'm ruling in favor of Claire Hartley. Full restitution. $721,000. You have 60 days to pay. Your Honor, my client doesn't have that kind of liquid cash. Then he'll sell assets. The house, the cars. Whatever it takes. The judge looked directly at my uncle. You stole it. You'll return it. With interest. Additionally, I'm referring this case to the district attorney for criminal investigation. The evidence of tax fraud and money laundering is substantial enough to warrant prosecution. My uncle stood up. Your Honor, please. Sit down. The authority in her voice made everyone in the courtroom freeze. You don't get to beg for mercy after 3 years of theft. You don't get to play the victim after what you did to this girl. She turned to me. Miss Hartley, I'm sorry for what you've been through. Your father tried to take care of you, and his own brother betrayed that trust. The court recognizes the pain and hardship you've endured. My eyes filled with tears. I couldn't help it. You'll have your money within 60 days. All of it, plus interest, plus your legal fees. She banged the gavel. This court is adjourned. The sound echoed through the room like thunder. For a moment, no one moved. Then my aunt let out a wail. How are we supposed to pay that? We don't have that kind of money. You spent it, I said quietly. Everyone turned to look at me. You spent my money. Now you figure out how to give it back. My uncle lunged toward me. Thomas stepped between us instantly. You little bitch! You've destroyed this family. Destroyed it! 2 bailiffs grabbed my uncle, pulling him back. Mr. Hartley, you need to leave. Now. One of the bailiffs said firmly. She's not family anymore, my uncle shouted as they pulled him toward the exit. You hear me, Claire? You're dead to us! Dead! I've been dead to you since you stole my inheritance, I called back. Melissa was sobbing into her mother's shoulder. My aunt shot me a look of pure hatred. That wedding money, my aunt hissed as she passed. Melissa's wedding. You're taking that too. I hope you're proud of yourself. I didn't take anything. Your husband did, 3 years ago. They left in a storm of designer clothes and expensive perfume and bitter tears. The courtroom emptied until it was just me and Thomas. We won, I whispered. We won, Thomas confirmed. $721,000. Plus legal fees. Should be close to $750 by the time everything's calculated. I sat down in the nearest chair. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. What happens now? Now, we wait for payment. If he doesn't pay within 60 days, we can seize assets. Put a lien on the house. Garnish wages. Whatever it takes. Thomas sat beside me, and the DA will likely press criminal charges. Tax evasion alone could get him 5 years. Good, I said, and I meant it. Thomas handed me a folder. This is your copy of the judgment. Keep it safe. I held the folder against my chest like a shield. Thank you, I said. For everything. For finding me. For fighting for me. Your father was a good man. He deserved better than a brother who would steal from his daughter. Thomas stood. Go home. Rest. This is over. But it wasn't over. Not quite yet. The news spread like wildfire. By the next morning, everyone knew. Family friends. Distant relatives. People I hadn't spoken to in years. Some reached out to apologize. We didn't know the whole story. Your aunt told us you were lying. We should have listened to you. Others doubled down. Angry messages about how I'd destroyed the family. How I should be ashamed. How money wasn't worth losing everyone. I blocked them all. The first week after the judgment, nothing happened. My uncle and aunt went silent. No calls, no texts, no threats. Thomas said that was normal. They're scrambling, talking to accountants, trying to figure out how to come up with the money. Week 2, I got a call from an unknown number. Claire? It was Melissa. Her voice was small, broken. Can we talk? About what? About everything. Please, just meet me for coffee. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a cafe downtown. Melissa looked different, tired. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by jeans and a simple sweater. No makeup, hair in a messy ponytail. She looked like she'd been crying for days. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. I didn't respond. Just waited. The wedding's canceled. She stared at her coffee. We can't afford it anymore. Brandon's parents found out about the lawsuit. About where the money came from. They don't want their son marrying into a family with this kind of scandal. I'm sorry, I said. And part of me meant it. Are you? She looked up, eyes red. Are you really sorry? Or are you happy that I'm suffering too? I never wanted you to suffer, Melissa. I just wanted what was mine. You took everything. Her voice cracked. Dad has to sell the house. Mom's jewelry. The cars. Everything. We're going to lose it all. He stole it all. From me. From my father. He's still my father. Tears rolled down her face. And now he might go to prison. The DA called yesterday. They're pressing charges. Tax evasion. Fraud. He could get 10 years. 10 years. The number hung between us. What do you want me to do, Melissa? Drop the judgment? Let him keep the money he stole? I want you to have a heart. I want you to remember we're family. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't leave you drowning in debt while they throw $200,000 parties. She flinched like I'd slapped her. I didn't know, she whispered. I swear I didn't know where the money came from. I thought Dad's business was doing well. I thought you didn't want to know. That's different. Melissa wiped her eyes. What if I apologize? What if Mom apologizes? What if we all sit down and talk about this like adults? It's too late for that. It's never too late. Claire, please. I'm begging you. Reduce the judgment. Take half. Take whatever you need for the debt. But leave us something, please. I looked at her. Really looked at her. This girl I'd grown up with. Played with. Loved like a sister. She'd stood by while her parents humiliated me. Mocked me, stole from me. No, I said quietly. No. Your father stole $595,000 from me. The court added interest. That's not my fault. That's his. I stood up. He made his choices. Now he lives with them. You're really going to destroy us? I'm not destroying anything. Your father did that 3 years ago when he decided his daughter's wedding was more important than his niece's survival. I walked out of the cafe. Melissa didn't follow. Week 3, my uncle's lawyer called Thomas with an offer. They're willing to pay $300,000, now, cash, if Claire agrees to drop the judgment and sign a non-disclosure agreement. Absolutely not, I said. They're also offering to drop any counterclaims. What counterclaims? Thomas sighed. They're threatening to sue you for emotional distress, defamation. It's all nonsense, but it's a scare tactic. Let them sue. I have the truth. That's what I told them, Thomas said. They weren't happy. Week 4, the for sale signs went up. My uncle and aunt's house. The big, beautiful house they'd bought with my money. I drove past it one evening. Couldn't help myself. The curtains were drawn. The yard was overgrown. It looked abandoned already. Week 5, my uncle tried one last time. He showed up at my apartment, alone. No lawyer. No aunt, just him. I opened the door to find him standing there, looking 10 years older than he had at the trial. I'm not here to fight, he said. I just want to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Please, Claire. 5 minutes. Against every instinct, I let him in. He stood in my tiny studio, looking around at my cheap furniture, my small kitchen, my life. Your father would be ashamed of you, he said quietly. Excuse me. Doing this. Destroying the family. Taking everything. He would be ashamed. I felt rage building in my chest. My father would be ashamed of you for stealing from his daughter, for lying about it, for spending 3 years living off money he left for me. I was desperate. My business was failing. I had debts. I had a family to support. So did my father. He had medical bills and a daughter to support. And he made sure I'd be taken care of. You destroyed that. My uncle's face twisted. I meant to pay you back. I swear I did. I just needed time. 3 years wasn't enough time. The business took longer to recover than I thought. And then Melissa's engagement, and the wedding plans, and you kept spending my money instead of giving it back. He was silent. Get out, I said. Claire, get out of my apartment. He didn't move. I know you hate me, he said. I know what I did was wrong. But I'm begging you, as your uncle, as your father's brother, show mercy, reduce the judgment, give us a chance to survive this. You didn't show me mercy. Why should I show you any? Because you're better than me, better than this whole situation. His eyes were wet. Your father raised you right. He raised you to be kind, forgiving. Don't let my mistakes turn you into someone hard and bitter. For a moment, just a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Then I remembered. The funeral I paid for alone. The debt collectors calling at midnight. The 2 jobs. The skipped meals. The humiliation at the engagement party. 3 years of struggling while he lived in luxury on my money. You're right, I said. My father did raise me right. He taught me to stand up for myself. To fight for what's mine. To never let people walk all over me. I opened the door. Now get out. or I'm calling the police." He left without another word. Week 6, the payment deadline arrived. My uncle didn't pay. Thomas filed for asset seizure the same day. The asset seizure happened fast, brutally fast. Within 48 hours, marshals were at my uncle's house. I wasn't there, but Melissa posted about it on social media. Photos of men carrying furniture out, her mother crying on the lawn, her father standing there helpless, watching his life get dismantled piece by piece. The caption, "This is what greed looks like. I hope you're happy, Claire." I blocked her. Again. Thomas called that afternoon. The house sold at auction. Got $420,000 for it. The cars brought in another 60. Jewelry, furniture, and other assets brought in about 40 more. We're at 520,000. That's still 200,000 short. I know. We're going after his business next. And his retirement accounts. How long will that take? Couple of weeks. Maybe less. Thomas paused. How are you holding up? I don't know. I feel like I should feel guilty, but I don't. You shouldn't feel guilty. You're taking back what's yours. But the pressure was mounting from everywhere. Family members I barely knew started reaching out. You're tearing this family apart. Your father would be heartbroken. Money isn't worth this. My grandmother, my father's mother, called. She was 87 years old. I hadn't heard from her in 2 years. Claire, baby, please stop this. Richard made mistakes, but he's family. We don't destroy family over money. He stole from me, Grandma. For 3 years. I know, sweetheart. And that was wrong. But enough is enough. You've made your point. You've taken the house, the cars, everything. Isn't that punishment enough? The court ordered $721,000. I'm just following the law. The law isn't always right, baby. Sometimes mercy is more important than justice. Her words stayed with me, haunted me. Was I taking this too far? Was I destroying people's lives over money? Then I'd remember. The engagement party. The humiliation. The 3 years of struggling. My father's face in the hospital when he promised I'd be taken care of. No, I wasn't going too far. I was finally standing up for myself. Week 7, the district attorney filed formal charges. Tax evasion, fraud, embezzlement, theft of estate assets. My uncle was arrested at his temporary apartment. Melissa posted a photo of him in handcuffs with the caption, "My father is not a criminal. He's a victim of a vindictive family member who cares more about money than people." The comments were split, half supporting her, half supporting me. Someone shared the court documents online. The full judgment, the evidence, the bank records showing exactly what my uncle had done. Public opinion started shifting. Wait, he really stole 600K from his niece? She was paying her dead father's medical bills while he threw 200K engagement parties? This isn't about greed. This is about justice. Melissa's social media went quiet after that. Week 8, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Claire, it's Brandon. Melissa's fiancé. Ex-fiancé, I guess. What do you want? I want to apologize. For everything. The engagement party. The things I said. I didn't know the full story. Okay, apology noted. Wait, please. There's something you should know. He hesitated. Melissa knew. About the money. She knew it came from your inheritance. My blood went cold. What? Not at first. But about a year ago, she overheard her parents arguing about it. Her dad was worried you'd find out. Her mom said you were too stupid to figure it out. His voice was bitter. Melissa told me about it. Laughed about it. Said you deserved it for being poor and pathetic. I couldn't breathe. She knew? Yeah, and she spent it anyway. The Europe trip, the clothes, the party, all of it. She knew it was your money and she didn't care. Why are you telling me this? Because when I found out the truth, the real truth, I ended things. My family doesn't associate with thieves, and I thought you deserved to know that your cousin isn't the innocent victim she's pretending to be. He hung up. I sat on my couch shaking. Melissa knew. She'd known for over a year and said nothing. Did nothing. Kept spending my money while pretending to be my friend. The betrayal cut deeper than anything my uncle had done. Week 9, Thomas called with news. We got the rest. Business assets, retirement accounts, some bonds he'd hidden. Total comes to $738,000. That's more than the judgment. The extra $17,000 is yours. Interest accrued during collection. Thomas sounded satisfied. It's over, Claire. You won. Completely. The money hit my account the next day. $738,000. I stared at my phone screen, at the number that had appeared overnight. More money than I'd ever imagined having. The first thing I did was pay off the remaining $5,000 in medical debt. The collection agencies were shocked. Paid in full? Are you sure? I'm sure. Then I paid Thomas his legal fees. $35,000. Worth every penny. You earned this, I said. We earned this, he corrected. You were brave enough to fight. Most people would have given up. With the debt gone and the legal fees paid, I had just over $700,000 left. My father's legacy, finally mine. I transferred $50,000 to savings. Emergency fund, security. Then I did something my uncle would never understand. I donated $25,000 to a cancer research foundation. In my father's name, I set up a scholarship fund at my old high school. $10,000 a year for students who'd lost parents and needed help with college. The David Hartley Memorial Scholarship. I paid off my student loans. All of them. $32,000. Gone. And then I sat in my tiny studio apartment and cried. Not sad tears. Not angry tears. Relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. For the first time in 3 years, I could breathe. No debt, no collection calls. No working 2 jobs just to survive. I was free. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I hope you're happy. Dad's going to prison for 5 years. Mom lost everything. I lost my fiancé, my future. All because of you. I hope it was worth it. Melissa. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, Brandon told me you knew. That you've known for over a year where the money came from. You could have told me. You could have helped me. But you chose to spend it instead. So yeah, Melissa, it was worth it. I blocked the number. My grandmother called one more time. I heard about the scholarship, she said softly. The one in your father's name. Yeah. That's beautiful, baby. He would have loved that. She paused. I'm proud of you. For fighting. For winning. And for still being kind enough to help others. Thank you, Grandma. Your father raised a strong woman. Don't ever forget that. The criminal trial was set for 3 months later. But that wasn't my fight anymore. I'd won mine. 6 months later, my life looked completely different. I quit both jobs, enrolled in graduate school, moved into a real apartment, not huge, not fancy, but mine. A bedroom, a real kitchen, windows that let in actual sunlight. I could breathe. My uncle's criminal trial happened in November. I didn't attend. Thomas went and sent me updates. Guilty on all counts. 5 years in prison, 3 years probation after release. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No revenge. Just emptiness where anger used to be. My aunt and Melissa disappeared from social media. Moved to another state, I heard. Started over somewhere nobody knew their story. Good. They deserved to rebuild their lives the way I'd had to rebuild mine. The David Hartley Memorial Scholarship gave its first award in December. A girl named Sophie who'd lost her mother to cancer, 17 years old, working part-time at a grocery store to help pay bills. I met her at the award ceremony. Thank you, she said, crying. You don't know what this means. I thought I'd have to skip college. I know exactly what it means, I told her. And you're going to do amazing things. She reminded me of myself 3 years ago. Scared, struggling, alone. But not anymore. Christmas came. I spent it alone in my apartment. Made dinner for myself. Watched old movies. Called my grandmother. You doing okay, baby? She asked. Yeah, Grandma. I really am. Your father would be so proud of you. Those words broke something open inside me. I cried for an hour after we hung up. Not sad tears. Healing tears. In January, I did something crazy. I went back to that cafe where Melissa and I had met, sat at the same table, ordered the same coffee, and I forgave her. Not out loud. Not to her face. She didn't deserve that. But I forgave her in my heart. Let go of the anger, the betrayal, the hurt. Because holding on to it was only hurting me. I forgave my aunt too. And even my uncle. Not because what they did was okay. It wasn't. It never would be. But because I refused to let their choices poison the rest of my life. My father had left me more than money. He'd left me strength, resilience, the ability to fight for myself. And I'd finally learned how to use it. February brought an unexpected letter. From my uncle. From prison. I almost threw it away. But curiosity won. Claire, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect forgiveness. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. Truly sorry. What I did was unforgivable. I stole from you, lied to you, let you suffer while I lived in luxury bought with your pain. There's no excuse, no justification. I was desperate and I made the worst choice possible. I betrayed my brother's dying wish. I betrayed you. And I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it. I hope someday you can find peace. You deserved so much better. From me, from your aunt, from all of us. Your father was the best man I knew, and I dishonored his memory every single day for 3 years. I'm sorry, Richard. I read it twice. Then I folded it and put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd write back. Maybe not, but at least he'd finally told the truth. In March, I got my first graduate school grades. Straight A's. I celebrated by taking myself to dinner. A nice restaurant. The kind of place I'd never been able to afford before. I ordered wine. A real meal, dessert. And I thought about my father. I made it, Dad, I whispered. I'm okay. I'm actually okay. A woman at the next table smiled at me. Celebrating something? Yeah, I said. Freedom, she raised her glass. To freedom. I raised mine back. That night, I went home and looked at my bank account. Still over $600,000. Even after tuition, rent, and living expenses, money I could use to build a real life. Buy a house someday. Start a business. Help others the way I wished someone had helped me. My father's legacy wasn't just the money. It was the fight. The refusal to give up. The strength to stand up to people who'd tried to destroy me. And I'd won. Not just in court. Not just financially. I'd won my life back. I pulled out my phone and looked at my father's last text to me. Sent 2 days before he died. Love you, baby girl. Remember, you're stronger than you think. Braver than you believe. And you deserve everything good this world has to offer. Don't let anyone tell you different. I'd finally learned to believe him. My story wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about money. It was about a girl who lost everything and fought to get it back. Who stood up to family who'd betrayed her. Who refused to be a victim. 3 years ago, I stood in a ballroom wearing a cheap dress while my family mocked me and demanded money I didn't have. Today, I stood in my own apartment, debt-free, with my father's legacy secure and my future bright. They'd tried to break me. They'd failed. And now? Now I was finally living the life my father had worked so hard to give me. The life I deserved. The life I'd fought for. I opened my laptop and started writing. My story, every detail, every moment. Not for revenge. Not to shame anyone. But because somewhere out there, someone else was fighting the same battle. Someone else had been betrayed by family. Stolen from, left to struggle alone. And they needed to know you can fight back. You can win. You're stronger than they want you to believe. I titled the document, How I Took Back What Was Mine. Then I started typing. I was standing in the corner of a massive ballroom, watching crystal chandeliers reflect off champagne glasses that cost more than my monthly rent, when my aunt walked up to me with that smile. My father had given me one final gift, the strength to tell my story. And I was finally ready to share it. Not as a victim, as a survivor, as someone who'd stood in the darkness and fought her way back to the light. The court had ruled in my favor, but more importantly, I'd ruled in my own favor. I'd chosen myself, my future, my father's memory, and that was worth more than any amount of money could ever be. This was my story, and it was finally mine to tell.